Hey, what's up, guys? Lanceroy here. I decided to just do a World of Warcraft Battleground tier list because tier lists are fun to watch, they're fun to do. I've been playing WoW for about 18 years now, since '05, and I have a lot of experience, and PvP has always been my main focus of the game ever since I've been playing since Classic. We have about 13 Battlegrounds in Dragonflight right now. Unfortunately, I wish Blizzard would have came out with more. They kind of seem to put PvP secondary compared to the PvE side of the game, but that it is what it is, you know. However, I'm not a professional player. I'm an 1800 Andy, but I like playing the game, and I have a lot of experience with it, and I think I can judge fairly enough which battlegrounds are S tier, which one are F tier, and all the rest in between. So let's start with the first one, the classic, and I think it's the very first battleground that was ever released, Warsong Gulch. So Warsong Gulch it's a pretty balanced map, I believe. It's fun. It's a 10v10. I think even in the normal version of it, not just the rated, it's 10v10 all around. It's good. You know, it's a solid capture the flag, get it to your base, hide it. I like the three-tiered system that they have, the three levels for each base. They have the floor level, the mid level, the top level. It's pretty good. The map, feels balanced. It doesn't feel like too many classes are overpowered. Demon Hunters can kind of hop up onto the ledges and stuff, and that's a little strong, and Priests can kind of like grip people up onto the different ledges, including in the graveyard. So certain classes do have a disadvantage on this. But however, actually, you know what? I've changed my mind. It's not S tier. It's definitely not S tier. I'm going with A tier because there are certain classes that have much more strengths than weaknesses on this map, and other classes kind of lack that. The ability to get up to those upper levels and get back down, and etc. Well, getting down is easy, but getting back up. So about an A tier. I think it's a solid A tier, and I think it, maybe a cool remapping of it would be cool. Once in a while, just change the textures around, make it look different. However, just keep it there. It's solid. It's a solid PvP battleground. Next is Winter Grasp. Okay. This one's a point of contention. Sorry if you can hear my dog. She likes to bark at nothing. Winter Grasp. For me, personally, I think Winter Grasp is pretty much an F tier. It seems very one-sided. Once a side starts winning in Winter Grasp, it seems like it's just kind of a snowball effect and you lose. It feels like it heavily relies on that first battle, that first clash that happens in the beginning. If your side kind of wins that first battle at the crater or whatever, it kind of feels like your team's going to win if that's the case. And if it loses that first battle, it loses. I know that's not the case every time, but when I get into Winter Grasp, I always hope I'm defending. I feel like defense has a inherent advantage in this, and I would like to see the stats on that. Like, how often does offense actually win in Winter Grasp? I would assume not a lot. I used to like when Blizzard actually had a system where you could deselect the battlegrounds you didn't want to do. I always deselected Winter Grasp because I never wanted to do it. But yeah, it's just not a fun one for me. I don't know about you guys, but if I can avoid a Winter Grasp, I'd be happy. All right. So that comes to Seething Shore. This one was released in BFA, I believe. Right? Is this the Battle for Azeroth one? I think so. Right? This is the one with the mines. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. It's the mining node one. I always forget the name of it. I think it's Seething Shore. Anyways, this one, I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. It's kind of one of those, I guess it's like a C tier battleground. It's nothing I mean, it's different, which I like. I think that's why I kind of do like it, is that it's something new. But it feels, especially for the average player not doing rated battlegrounds, it feels kind of disorganized and kind of crazy and chaotic and not very, you know, you never know what you're kind of doing. You know, you run into a node and there's 10 people on the opposite faction just there and they kill you or whatever. Or, you know, you're just capping nodes all over the place and there's no one there to contest it. It's weird. It's kind of a weird one. It's a C tier though. In rated battlegrounds, it feels fun enough. I like it more in organized play. It is kind of hard to organize correctly, I feel like, but it's a good one. It's okay. You know, I'm glad that Blizzard did something different, and it didn't turn out to be like horrible. Yeah, about a C tier. Ashran. Some people like to call it another name. You all know. Ashran came out in Warlords of Draenor. It was different when it first came out, much different than it is now. They changed it a lot, but today's Ashran, it kind of has some of the problems that Wintergrass has, where once a team starts winning, it feels kind of like they snowball a little bit. However, not nearly as bad, actually. You know, you can come back in an Ashran. I've had it happen many times. I give Ashran about a C tier. It's about a C tier battleground for for epic battlegrounds. I think it's okay. I think it's decent. I think there's I like how there's different objectives people can do. It's not just a head-on collision all the time, 100% of the time. You can go collect shards. You can go kill different bosses for loot, special abilities and stuff. It's good. It's okay. And if you can get a small group together that can kill the mage, that's cool. Not a bad one. C tier. Next, Isle of Conquest. Isle of Conquest is pretty good in my opinion. I think it's not it's not a bad one. People have their opinions on whether going to the Zeppelin is better. I forget the name of it, but the Zeppelin, whether going Glaives is better, or no one ever says going down mid is the best, right? It's always the mid is kind of just like an extra, I feel like. I think it's about a B tier. It's a pretty good one. I like it. I like being able to run bombs inside the base, and have these different things that you can do, capturing, destroying the gates with the glaives, or jumping into there with the Zeppelin, into the base with the Zeppelin, or catapulting yourself into the bases. It's cool. I like it. I think it's a pretty decent battleground. Doesn't, yeah, I think it's a B tier. I don't really have much else to add. It was added in Wrath of the Lich King. It's a good one. It's been solid ever since it's been added. I know some people don't like it, but I think it's good. As far as the epic battlegrounds go, which actually, usually epic battlegrounds, in my opinion, are less fun than the normal battlegrounds because you have less of an impact. It's just kind of like, hopefully your Zerg is better than their Zerg. But yeah, Isle of Conquest is good. It's a good one. Altric Valley. So this is the first epic battlegrounds that 40. Well, they didn't call them epic. I don't think they called them epic battlegrounds back then. But it was the first 40v40 World of Warcraft battleground, and I think it's stood the test of time. Obviously, they've had to make plenty of changes to it to make it do that, but I think it's a good battleground. I like being able to defend towers. I like being able to be on offense or defense. It's fun. I think it's a solid game, and you can have an impact even in small groups, which is great. You can back cap or defend or whatever, and you can have a pretty good impact. I think this is an A tier. I think Altric Valley is an A tier. It's probably my favorite of the epic battleground groups out of all of them, and it's really good. Deepwind Gorge. That's the one. When this first came out, it had mine carts that you could take. I mean, you guys probably remember, some of you, where you could take the mine cart and you could steal it from the enemy base, bring it back to yours, and it would take resources from them, which was pretty cool. That was a really cool mechanic. And then add like capture the flag, like the Wrathy Basin thing going on, where you get a flag and you kind of try to keep it. But what made it different was the minecart. But now the today's iteration of Deepwind Gorge is the same thing as Wrathy Basin. It's the same thing as Eye of the Storm without the flag in the middle. It's a different type of flag. It's okay. It's nothing great. It's fun enough, but it's nothing new. It's just, I think it's a C tier. Probably above Seething Shore, just because I like this game mode more. So I'd probably put it like right here, C tier. Silver Shard Mine. I think this came out in Mists of Pandaria. I didn't play Cataclysm, so I'm not sure, but I think it was Mists of Pandaria. I think this is a pretty good one. I think it's an A tier, maybe an S tier Battleground. And the reason I say that is because there's 3 different carts. You can have different types of classes on these different carts doing different things, like rogues. A lot of times they'll get sent top to try to fight the other rogue or whatever it is, or the 2v1 or whatever. And then you have the main battle group go to the bottom to the lava, and the tank and the healer go to the mid. This is obviously for rated. For normals, you just kind of go to whatever cart that you think you're going to be able to get. But I think it's a good system, and I like being able to change the track. So like, there's a cart you can't get. It's cool that you can change the tracks and set the enemy team back, even though you can't capture that cart. So that's pretty good. I'm gonna take a drink of water real quick. But yeah, Silver Shard Mines, better than Altered Valley in my opinion. Again, I like smaller battlegrounds better because you have bigger impact. Is it better than Warsong Gulch? I don't think so. I have a lot of good memories with Warsong Gulch. Maybe it's nostalgia, but I think it's around here. And you guys are probably wondering, like, if Warsong Gulch isn't S tier and Silver Shard Mines isn't S tier, what's going to be S tier? I'll tell you in a bit, but there is one S tier that I consider S tier, and you may already know what it is. So, the next one, everyone's favorite, Temple of Kot Mogu. Every time we get this in RBGs, people are just like, yes, I love Temple. It's so good. It's so much fun. I'm being sarcastic. Temple of Kot Mogu is probably it's probably a D tier, and I'll explain why. Some people really do like it, but not a lot. Most people I talk to don't like Temple of Kot Mogu, and the reason is that certain classes have a strong advantage over other classes in Temple of Kot Mogu. Very, very strong advantage. I think range classes in general are a lot better because of the ledge and being able to rain down spells and ranged attacks, arrows, whatever, onto the people in the middle. And I feel like depending on your comp, if you have a really good comp, then maybe Temple of Kot Mogu is fun for you. Like I've seen the affliction lock slowing everybody. I think that was last expansion, but they could still kind of do that, I guess. And I don't know, it's just not fun. It's always a very one-sided, dominated game for the most part. One team usually just kind of destroys the other, and it's really not fun for the losing team. There's not a lot of places to go to like try to get advantages. Once you start losing, and if the other team's just more coordinated or like their gear's better, you're just gonna lose. Yeah, I don't know. I like that Blizzard tried something new. Maybe if they changed Temple's map, it would be better. Like if they made it bigger, or I don't know. They could make some changes and probably make it into a good game type. But as of now, man, Temple is just, it sucks, in my opinion. Next one, Isle of Gilneas. This is a solid, solid map. I don't know what you call this game type. It's not capture the flag because that's like Warsong Gulch, but it's King of the Hill, whatever. You know, get the points, stay on the points. This is a decent one. I like Isle of Gilneas. I think it's up there. I think it's around here. I mean, these two might be around the same, but I think Isle of Gilneas is a good one. I've had a lot of good battles there. You can also kind of play mind games with which point you're going to go to with the other team. Or you're going to send your stealthies over, or you're going to send that one Shadow Priest over and just 2v1 everybody. It's a good one. I think it's a solid one, solid map. It's self-explanatory. It's fun. It's simple, but at the same time, there's different strategies you can do. Twin Peaks. So Twin Peaks is it's a Warsong Gulch type map, right? It's capture the flag, get 3 points, you win the game. Is it as good as Warsong Gulch? Is the map as good? I think the map is okay. There's 2 levels in the base, which is fine. But the second level is quite small and it's like whatever. The water aspect kind of changes a little bit. Druids are pretty good, or people who can get the tank to ice walk over the water, like Death Knights or some sort of levitate or whatever. So the water kind of changes things a little bit, different from Warsong Gulch. Is it as good as Warsong Gulch? I'm gonna say no. It's it's good, but you know what? For me, it's nothing new really. It's nothing unique. It's just kind of another game type that is like Warsong Gulch, but not Warsong Gulch. I'm gonna give that a B tier. Not a bad one. It's okay. It's fun. Don't hate it. I'm not like, oh man, I got Twin Peaks. I'm like, okay, it's Twin Peaks, whatever. It's okay. Eye of the Storm came out in Burning Crusade, one of the earlier new, battlegrounds. It's there's a flag in the middle that has kind of a capture the flag element, and then we have the base sitting King of the Hill type on the 4 corners. I think Eye of the Storm is pretty good, especially the rated version of Eye of the Storm. The normal like random battleground version, it sucks because anybody who has any kind of push off or like push back or whatever, it's just gonna kill people constantly off the ledge of that middle bridge or whatever you want to call it. Which makes Eye of the Storm, the random version, kind of suck. And the random version also isn't flags. You have to like sit on the base and wait for it to be captured, which takes forever. So I like the rated version. I think the rated version is pretty good. Some people don't like Eye of the Storm. I like that it kind of combines the 2 elements of like Arathi Basin and Warsong Gulch into one, and you kind of, because of that, there's a lot of different strategies people can kind of utilize, whether they're going to focus more on like capping bases or whether they're going to focus more on controlling mid. Obviously, you can't just control mid and win the game, but it's a good one. It's a pretty good one. I think it's solid. I don't hear people complain about it too often, besides like people getting pushed off. It's a good one. And there's different win conditions, and which is good for battlegrounds. There needs to be more than just one win condition in most cases, unless it's like Warsong Gulch, that's just like one win condition. But it's still, still a good map. I don't know. I think it's an A tier. I think it's an A tier, maybe an S tier. I know some people are gonna hate me if I put it in an S tier. I think it's an S tier. I like the fact that there's multiple win conditions. I don't like the fact that people get pushed off the edge, but I like that you can kind of change up your strategy if you can have a plan B, or if your plan A falls short. This is the last one. This one's just another copy of Warsong Gulch. Arathi Basin. So, Arathi Basin was the second battleground to release, I believe, in Classic, or Vanilla, I should say. And I think Arathi Basin has stood the test of time. I think it's a really good battleground. I like, again, there's like 3 levels of battleground, and that can make you, that allows people to make all kinds of different plays, whether they like slow fall from the the lumber bridge to the blacksmith to the mines, which is really cool, or they take the roads to get there, which is fine. And then you're like, well, Lanceroy, you were just complaining about how people were getting knocked off in Eye of the Storm. Yes, but it's a lot harder to knock off people in Arathi Basin, in my opinion. There's not as many opportunities. It's really only at Lumbermill that people ever do that, and it's only one side. It also, you can save yourself getting knocked off in Arathi Basin, excuse me. You can't save yourself in Eye of the Storm unless you like quickly shadow step back up to a player, or you have some sort of like heroic leap, or something to get back onto the ledge. But however, if you can't, you're not always going to die when you get knocked off Arathi Basin. It's irritating, but it is hard to pull off. You have to be standing on that ledge, and the player has to be perfectly positioned to knock you off. I think Arathi Basin is an S tier, and I believe I like it more than Eye of the Storm. I think with the 5 bases, you have 5 bases. You can mind game the other team, like where you're gonna go. Are we gonna go straight for that farm, or straight for the stables, or are we gonna do the blacksmith? Or are we gonna just keep a tank and a healer at blacksmith, and everyone goes lumber mill? Is a rogue going mines? Is a rogue at mines? Is he going to go ninja something? There's a lot of different variables to this one. And I think this is a game type that the reason why Deepwind Gorge is down here is because I think Arathi Basin's map's better. And not only that, but Deepwind Gorge didn't do anything new. They used to have something new with the carts. If Deepwind Gorge had the carts, and then you just nerfed like certain classes with the carts, because I think Demon Hunters were like super OP with the carts back in Legion. You can't allow them to just like take off with the cart halfway across the map. Or like, I think if Deepwind Gorge had the carts, it would probably be like an A tier battleground. But Arathi Basin still does what Deepwind Gorge does, but in my opinion, just better. And that's funny to say because it was like the original, right? It was like the original. I keep on calling it King of the Hill, but capture the points or whatever. I think Arathi Basin is the best battleground in the game. The most fun for me, personally. Eye of the Storm's up there, Warsong Gulch is up there. They're all pretty close. But then there's ones I just hate, like Temple of Kotmogu and Wintergrass. I just hate those. Ashran is, again, I don't know. It's okay. Seething Shore is okay, So, let me know what you think. This is coming from, again, like an 18-year veteran of WoW. 1800 Andy. I'm not a professional. I just, I play for fun. I don't play the game super seriously. I like to climb a little bit of rating, but yeah. Let me know what you think, and if you have a different idea, and if you agree with me, feel free to leave a comment. If you like the video, I'll be making more tier lists like this one in the future, because I just think it's fun to do. I think it's fun to think about why I like these things certain the way they are and stuff like that. Yeah, leave a like if you like it, and subscribe if you do. I'll see you next time. Thanks.